think I'm forward, but I think you're hot.
I can't see his face. Is it worth it or not?
I have 12,062,060 hormones. And all of them want you to kiss me.
Let me pull this balloon from your breast.
Please. I would prefer that you call us my chest.
This is the double most pit situation. I am victim of my father's capitulation. I can't marry Paris because I've got a husband. I'm sure that's illegal, except in Wisconsin. To Romeo, you will recall I am now wed, but they'd have me wed Paris.
Not if you're dead. Listen, I got a plan, but it takes guts. And you must eat 2 of these death-faking nuts!
Hey everybody, welcome to this installment of Hey Pete, It's a Creative Life, and this time we're talking about one of my favorite things, playwriting. Playwriting. Playwriting! Some of you know me as a playwright, so I just wanted to make a quick video on how I got started in playwriting. People frequently ask me, Pete, they call me Pete, Pete, how did you get started in playwriting? And the answer to that is always the same, the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet. I realize for some of you that title means something, and for others of you that title means nothing, but it's actually a thing. Google it. The Seussification of Romeo and Juliet is the first one-act play that I ever wrote, and it was never even really supposed to be a one-act play. It was just supposed to be the end skit for something that we do here on Bethany Lutheran College's campus called theater physics. So what's theater physics? Theater physics is an annual vaudeville review that I have been directing for the last 27 years. And it has to do with dance, it has to do with pantomime, it has to do with physical comedy, has to do with a lot of big cartoony acting. And it ends with a skit at the end that is physically motivated, comic, and high energy. And that's what the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet was supposed to be. So creativity, experimentation, and invention are all key to the show. Theater Physics is a show that we invent based on ideas that are thought of or borrowed from the cast members and the directors. And traditionally, we have a 2.5-week time frame to put the whole Theater Physics show together. So there's nothing like a short time limit to get the creative juices flowing. Maybe I'll do a video just about theater physics. Too many ideas. So in 2001, I needed an end skit for the Theater Physics show. And it came to my mind that maybe it would be funny if the story of Romeo and Juliet were told as if Dr. Seuss had his way with the script. That was the general conceit of the show. And so in August of 2001, I got started. And I started writing it in this book. So when I first wrote the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet, I wrote it in this journal sketchbook thing. I got a lot of different, got drawings in here, set designs that I've used to draw and play. So I wish I could say that I wrote every play in a book like this, but I now use computers. So anyways, here, let me show you a couple of cool passages in here. So this is what the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet all looked like when I first wrote it. And I wrote it as a poem. I just wrote it all down in verse, made sure everything rhymed, and then I added who said what later. So if Juliet needed a line, I labeled that later. If the narrator says something, I put that in later. And then here's one of my favorite lines. How can I leave here when she holds my heart, my importantest blood-pumping chest body part?
How can I leave here when she holds my heart, my importantest blood-pumping chest body part?
you can sort of see the first iterations: blood pumping, important, my important blood pumping chest body part, and then finally in pencil you can see I made it what it finally was, my importantest blood pumping chest body part. So anyway, kind of fun. I simply enjoy mimicking the sound of Dr. Seuss, the bounce, the da 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 da, just sort of this rhyming tetrameter that Dr. Seuss makes use of. I like using that, and I like imitating that kind of feel, creating that world. I got about halfway through the script when now suddenly it's September, the students are all arriving on campus, and I had auditions for the show. So I remember having auditions, and I was only halfway done with what I thought was going to be a pretty extensive script. So now, after I had the 2001 cast for theater physics, we started rehearsing the front end part of the skits, lots of physical acting, lots of small little skits. And then we would also rehearse what I had done of the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet skit at the end. And during the day, I was typing frantically because I moved from doing the play in this book to the computer. And now I'm just trying to finish it. And every night I'm handing the actors new pages. So they are learning the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet on the fly, and I'm just handing them pages every night. They're learning something new. So we did it that way, me writing during the day, handing pages to the actors in the evening until I was finished with the script, which was about a week before we opened the show. So right around the time when I was just putting the final touches on the script, something interrupted our rehearsal process. Something interrupted the world. The tragedy of 9/11 happened, and the world just sort of stood still. For a few days, we just had a hard time getting back into the groove of being performers. Like, would theater physics even happen? Would our end skit be funny? We just didn't know. So we opened our show just a little bit after that, and by that time, people were actually ready for a laugh. And the end skit of theater physics, which we were calling the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet, was very well received.
Now, don't get the notion that the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet is our main intention. We would never do that. No, we wouldn't. Oh, no. And that's why we're bothering telling you so. Romeo, baby, oh, fuck. Wherefore art thou? I just can't get enough.
I've read enough Tom and Schuster's Name was Cupid. He's opened my eyes and made me less stupid. I came in to give your lips just one more kiss, and then when I'm done, I'm gonna eat this. So here comes the kiss, and pucker up, sister. Yippee-yahoo, you're still a great kisser.
Okay, so all of that happened. Fast forward about a year later, I get a call from a graduated student of mine who is now teaching at a high school in town. It was a Catholic school in town, and she wanted to direct the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet. And then I got another call from another student who had graduated who wanted to direct the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet up at the Minneapolis Fringe Festival. I was honored and kind of dumbfounded, actually. So the Fringe Festival was very interesting because now it's actually done for the public in a big city. And it actually got reviews in the local newspapers up there, positive reviews. So I started to get the idea, maybe this is something that should go to a publisher. So I got my act together and I sent my script to a publisher. So after doing some internet research, I found a play publishing company that was really new and it looked really cool. It was run by two playwrights who both happened to be brothers. And they were Doug and Jonathan Rand, and the publishing company was PlayScripts, Inc. So this script that I had been sitting on for 3 years was finally published in 2004. I'm kind of a set it and forget it kind of a guy, so I forgot about it. I just sort of got it out of my mind and just continued my work here at Bethany. So after time went by, I started noticing that the play was actually getting some traction. It was finding itself on the publisher's bestsellers list. Not only that, it was finding itself on the top 10 most produced high school one-acts list for a number of years. So I can only just say it's been a blessing. Because now if you Google the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet, you get a bunch of posts from high schools or community playhouses or children's theaters, and they're all putting up cool stuff about how they're doing the show, and I couldn't be more honored. It's pretty cool. So now I just continue writing scripts. I keep writing high school one-acts, but I also write full-length shows too. I love to do adaptations. I love to create shows from scratch, brand new plots. I have just been bitten by the playwriting bug, and I really just enjoy writing shows so that I can direct them. Then, if I feel like they're any good after I direct them, I might make some tweaks, and then I might, or I might not, send it into a publisher. And that's a whole nother game. I don't always send plays in to be published. Sometimes I feel like they're great for my stage, but I just don't see a place for them in a published canon. And also, just like everybody, I do send plays in to be published, and they get rejected. That's part of the game too. The biggest takeaway I've learned from the whole publishing game is just keep writing. And so I just try to write as much as I can when I have time. I worry less about getting published. Anyways, that's how I got started in playwriting. And it's been a wild ride, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great honor. It's a great honor for me to have been given the opportunity to see other people doing stuff that I have just been writing off in a little book, a book like this, or just typing on my computer. And so it's a blessing, and I would like to thank, if you have done any of my plays, thank you. And if you haven't, what are you waiting for? Just kidding. Why don't you leave some comments down below? Or if you're a playwright, or if you like playwriting, why don't you tell me a little bit about your experience with this kind of stuff? So anyways, if this content has interested you and you would like to see more of this kind of stuff, why don't you consider subscribing? The channel is called Hey Pete. I'm Pete, and it's a creative life. Until next time, you guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.
Let's make this quick. I gotta floss my cat, so we won't stick.